Nick and Matt Show.
But what is one of the best or the top three best, I'll say, experiences at a tournament you've ever had, and what made it good?
Japan Open, number one, hands down, not even close.
Was that because of the travel, the whole aura of it, like where you're there, or what? It was the tournament itself?
It's the whole experience that you said. The experience. Mm-hmm. It's the only tournament I've ever been to where the guy at 90th is treated the exact same as Ken Climo.
I was just out at the Las Vegas Challenge before this whole COVID-19 came around, and they announced there that Japan Open is back. I forget what year it is, but it's coming up. 2021. And all I can say is it's their culture over there too. Like they're like bowing to me and everything while I'm like checking out their table. Like you're right. It's an amazing thing.
Well, it's just that, that's the whole point of what I do, is that I want everybody to get this red carpet experience that Nick gets an MVP. That's why he likes it.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that.
He got that at the Glow because he's Discraft Underground, so he liked it.
You're right.
And so I want everybody to get that. Japan Open is the only tournament I've been to where the guy that's rated 840 signed up at the bottom will say that the staff and the spectators and everybody involved treated him as if he was a world champion.
Right.
And I think that is what people are looking for. And I can name some other tournaments that have got close to that, but most of them are overseas.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and this is going to get on to a hot topic here in just a second. But let's just name off some of the things that are part of amateur disc golf tournaments, okay? Because that's what we want to kind of focus on. We have to contrast with pro because that's how you can tell the difference. But at an amateur division or an amateur only tournament, here are some things that I see. Right, great player packs. Large, funny money payouts or payouts in generals of some sort, okay? And I'll say it this way, a bunch of CTP prizes, multiple rounds typically are included. Tee times are often something that I think people enjoy. It's an experience. How about a meal? Now, being close to, again, the Vibram Open or MVP Open now, Steve Dodge always found, and I think I asked him once, what makes a tournament special? What takes it to that next level? And he says, have food. And I don't think he's wrong.
All of our regionals have food. At the national, I feed you every meal, lunch and dinner and breakfast.
So you agree? You agree?
Yeah, you don't want to leave the property. That's what makes a good tournament. You can stay there and enjoy what the TD spent his time to set up, so you can enjoy his pro shops, his side games, his camaraderie that he brought together all these people, instead of you rushing off the property and getting your food and rushing back just to your route.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a huge
right. So again, if you're checking us out right now on YouTube or the podcast and you want to send us a message, what do you like? What are the special parts of a tournament for you? What are the features that you look for? And I think one other that I just skipped over is an efficiently run tournament. And what does that mean to me? That means like there's no massive lines with like disorganization. It's like your time is spent efficiently, to where even during like lunch, they'll be like, hey, we're going back out in like 45 minutes. And that's what it is. It's not like, oh, it turns into an hour and a half or two.
I mean, if your ratings aren't up by mid-launch, you're not doing a good job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For tournaments, like 2 rounders in one day.
I mean, people are like, oh my God, it's so difficult. I'm not even good on the computer, and on my phone with a 100-person tournament, I can have all ratings and all the scores updated 15 minutes into lunch. You know what I mean? Yep. It's not difficult anymore.
Well, I was just going to say anymore is key. And I think I really believe we're going to see, because I know we were just talking to Matt Kruger a couple of weeks ago. If you want to check out that interview and discussion, go back a few weeks, episodes. But they're going to have it all integrated with the UDisc app. I mean, like, right around the corner here, where like you submit it and it's done. Like, and this is another topic that needs to come up. First of all, we're going to get to it, but it's going to be on tournament directors and like, why are they not paid and why should they be paid? And what is it damaging? What is damaging the game of disc golf more than tournament directors that aren't taken care of? And hot take right there, Nick. I really believe tournament directors are going to burn out, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get to that, Nick, what's the greatest player pack you've ever received? Can you think of one? I know you're a pro now.
Shoot. No, I can't think of the greatest one.
What makes a good player pack? What makes a good player pack?
You know what?
Do you want the Star Boss over and over and over?
No, so back in 2014, when the MVP Open did the AM side, I think we got a really nice like Vibram sweater, along with 4 discs, one of them being a super collectible disc. They're all Vibram discs, and back then I didn't care what I threw, so if I got like an Ibex, it was a decent mid-range. But we got like shirts, we got old Vibram Open DVDs, shirts, buttons, pins, and everything like that. And so I guess technically that would be my favorite players pack.
Okay, so that was your favorite. But what do you think makes a good player pack? Like, do you want discs? Do you want discs over and over every tournament you play?
No, not necessarily. I think people always said, if I'm going to pay $75 to play an amateur event, I want the players pack to be worth $75. And I think that at sometimes doesn't need to be the case, but in like that event, the Vibram Open I was talking about, the AM side, just that Vibram sweater, I wore that for like over 3 years. You know, I still have it probably tucked away in a bin somewhere. That one piece of clothing made that players pack worth it.
But what if every single time you played the MVP Open now, you got that same sweater? Like you're just gonna have stacks of sweater. Like, okay, so I'm ready to jump into this just a little bit because I got to get this off my shoulders. Like, Dave, what other tournament experience outside of disc golf? I'm talking like, and maybe you don't know, running, bicycling, bowling, anything else where you sign up and you pay whatever the fee is, and you expect to get merchandise at or double what you entered with. Like, what other tournament experience? Yeah, 0. Where does this happen? And I'm going to get on my soapbox right now. I'm not against player packs happening, but there's a much deeper problem here because the PDGA, and I'm not speaking for or against the PDGA, I work in good relationship with them, but they have right now requirements for player packs. And I'm sure there's something that I'm not understanding. You actually were on the PDGA board for a while. Maybe you can speak to where that like originated from, why there's a requirement for that. Because I think, and then I'll shut up, I think that there should be an option when I'm signing up for an amateur tournament to pay less and not take an amateur player pack.
That is correct. So the deal is they thought that the more you gave out, the more you could grow, and it just got out of control. Mm-hmm. Right. And now I'm in a position by running a tour where I have to give out a player package more than the entry fee and pay out the biggest payouts that anybody's ever seen. And then I get these people like, well, I won my division. I only got $45. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? The PDGA wants me to pay 50% of the field. I can't give the guy in his last cash $3. I got to give him something so he can win something. You know what I mean? So the payout's going to be flat. And I had to give you a player's package, so where do you think the money's coming from? If you just run the math, on a regular event, I run the exclusive, we're at negative $25 a player just out of the gate,
Yep.
And so I don't understand what people are expecting, and I think that this idea of cramming stuff down people's throat they don't want is our whole mission.
Serious.
Why do you we have 13 brands to choose from. That's the whole point.
Yes. No, okay. Yeah. So kudos to you. When I first heard it, I said, that's excellent. People can choose what they want. But here, and I'm just going to be honest, unless you're a kid, and hey, wearing my kid's disc golf hat, I can speak on this. Unless you're a kid that you get excited just to get something, like that's cool. They walk up to an event, they're excited to get something. Doesn't matter if it's a max weight boss or whatever it is. Like they're just excited. Yeah. I can understand that. But at the same time, every time I go to an event, I'm literally given something. Now, this is why sponsors come in. This is a whole nother topic. I'm given something that I don't necessarily want. And the reality is I'm not playing it for that thing, but sponsors are saying, well, they can have this at a cheaper cost to get it in the hands of an amateur disc golfer. And that's obviously a huge marketing thing, and I get that side of it too. But like I said, I don't want that player pack. Now, I've been playing 14 years. Do you know how much stuff I have that I don't need? It's just boxes.
You realize that I got 500 plus t-shirts from tournaments right now. We count 500 plus tournament t-shirts in my house.
Now, can I just say though, and okay, I like t-shirts too. I think, and I'm just looking, my brother, okay, he runs a lot. In fact, I think since like May, he's run like 450 miles or something. I'm talking like a lot of running, and he loves to sign up for tournaments. He's ran a marathon recently. Guess what happens when he pays $100 to do like a 5K? And I'm talking like,
I already know. I used to run 5Ks. He gets a
t-shirt and maybe like a bracelet or something.
Nice time. Here's a water
exactly.
bottle.
Yeah. And so can I go, and I'm on my soapbox still here. Like, I think let's lower the cost for an amateur to get in. And if you're TD out there right now, you're thinking, no, that's not possible because of the expectation for players packs. And I get that. We run the US National Championship for juniors. We get that. But if the expectation wasn't there for player packs to be so high, we could do more. In fact, here's the interesting part. If we were like, hey, you get a t-shirt and a towel and maybe a disc, and that was kind of like, wow, that's awesome. I value that t-shirt. It was an experience. I can take the extra money for that amateur event and make an amazing experience. I'm talking like above and beyond. But when you're taking a large portion of your payout, or not your payout, a large portion of your registration, and it goes towards the player pack, here's my point. If you're an amateur and you're listening right now, do you value the player pack more than you do the experience? Because to me,
but hold on, Matt. I don't mean to interrupt you, but so I've had some players emailing me recently, not understanding payouts and player pack tournaments, because there's the trophy only, and then there's the payout, and then there's the in between, right? We do the in between, but think about it. If you go trophy only, then people get upset and they get the player package, but everybody in the tournament leaves with something, right? If you do the payout only, you're paying 50% of the field, and then the 50% of the field isn't getting anything. Well, that 50% of the field is going to go away.
Yep.
So now only 50% of 50% is going to get something. So the payout's going to be the same as if you did the player package anyway, right? So a lot of these people only are signing up because they think they're going to get something. But then the guy who's serious about it says, hey, I put $50 into the pool. I won. There was 30 guys. How come I didn't win like $800? Right? You know, and so there's this in-between median. And I think that it's because we're not used to money going to the people who are doing everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The people that are doing everything deserve the money.
okay.
Plain and simple.
And that was my hot take. Yes. So thank you for saying that. We're going to save that. We're going to cut that soundbite out and we're going to play it as my ringtone. Like tournament directors, Nick, have you ever TD'd or helped TD event?
Nope.
Okay. Dave has, I'm sure, hundreds, if not thousands. I have done my fair share.
I ran a few.
Yeah, I've done my fair share over the last 5 years. And I can tell you what, you do it for the love of the sport, not for the money. But as the sport grows, you can't continually ask those people. Now, there's certain people who they'll just do it forever, like without anything. And maybe those are the people who should continue to run tournaments. But to grow the sport, you need more help. We need to take it to the next level. And I feel like, and I don't know, is this public knowledge? Like, do you pay TDs that run events for you, Dave?
Yeah, we're the only tour who actually pays them, and we make it public because we want them to know that it's not a free service, you know. And what I've seen is half the reason these people got in issues with pros in general is because they are volunteering. And when someone complains a little bit to a volunteer, he wants to cry.
Yep.
And he has the right to. And we've been running our sport on the back of volunteers for many years. And it's just like, you don't understand. All of the national tours, when I played in them, they all have different TDs now than when you today.
Yeah. So say the national tour
TD
6 years ago had different TDs than potentially the ones that the same national tour event has a different TD now.
Yeah, because you can't keep burning them out. You can't keep burning them out. And I think that we have to pay them. And I think that it's the fact that the pros were playing for lunch money that they were worried about it. But if we got away from the lunch money and you say that people are getting sponsors and there's real money in it now, that entry fee should actually go to the club. And the club can decide how much to pay the TD. Every club could be different. But that's what happens at the running event your brother goes to, because they leave the club in a better position than when they were there before they came. And we leave the club in a worse position than when we came.
Yeah.
What about privatizing disc golf? Now we're going to get on a whole, I got to write that down. It's a good topic, privatizing. Because why don't I run a disc golf tournament that I run separate from the PDGA? Now I haven't done this, but just throwing it out there as an idea. What if I ran a tournament as a business mind? What are the things that I'm going to focus on? I'm going to focus on the experience. Above all, I'm going to focus on their tournament experience. And it's going to be so high. Right. It's going to be so high that they can't believe it. Like, wow, like this is, I was treated like you said, Japan Open. Like I was treated such a high level. I don't care what I got as a player pack over there. Like getting a t-shirt, something for me to remember that event by is all I care about. Now, can I just say, and we'll kind of wrap up on the player pack talk and we'll see if there's anything else in relation to like the amateur tournament experience. But like what happens is, and I saw a shout out to Junior Worlds at DD. I was out there for their first rollout, I think 2 years ago with my son, and no joke. And I saw the comments coming in here. Junior Worlds had the best player pack hands down for any amateur tournament ever. Like, I think it was like 120 or 150 to sign
Come
up,
on.
but they got like
Do you want,
$350.
do you
They
want
got like $350 worth of merchandise.
come on now. Last year, just my last tournament, I gave out a $550 player pack.
So maybe you have it.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, Dave. And you said this earlier. The problem is it's not a battle. That might be the wrong word. But it's a contest back and forth about which tournament can do the biggest player pack, because that's how people are evaluating, is your tournament good or not? And I think it's detrimental, and I'll say it again, it's detrimental to disc golf because, and I'll just say it from my perspective, running U.S. juniors, we look at Junior Worlds and go, they gave out $350 or $400 player pack for $100 registration. If we only roll out a $120 player pack for $120 registration, which is money back in prizes, they look at it and go, ho hum, this was a borderline poor player pack. And it's like,
That's because PGA should have a standard on what you can and can't do. I mean, it's unfortunate, but we don't have standards. You know what I mean? Nobody can expect the same thing at two different tournaments, but they have the same PDGA
Did
logo
you ever?
on them. And I think that is important.
Did you ever watch the TV show The Office? Okay, Nick.
Yeah,
you?
sure.
No?
A little bit.
There was an episode, a Christmas season episode, where Michael Scott was like doing like a Yankee swap or like a white elephant gift exchange. And he had said there was a standard, but then like he's the one who gives like away an iPod, which back then was like the gift of all gifts. And it was like a $10 limit. But like he outdid everybody. And guess what everybody wants is that iPod. But they're all confused because they said, I thought there was a limit here.
Yeah.
Well, now everybody wants the iPod because that was what was given out. And I guess I'm trying to say, I personally am not going to judge a tournament on the player pack.
It's hard work too, raising this player pack. I wish it wasn't such a big deal.
So anyways, I think people could reduce the entry fees. If they advertise an excellent player pack and that's their marketing strategy, well, then they better present it, right? Mm-hmm. But if they're saying this tournament's going to be so awesome and people are like, what's in the player pack? And then they don't come out because, oh, you're only giving away a disc. It's kind of like, yeah. So here's another topic. Do you care? And this is interesting because even as a pro, this is kind of blending in now. And I'm interested in both perspectives from you and Nick. Do you care what a tournament does with their money? As long as you had a good experience at the tournament, do you care what they did with their money?
I personally don't care, and I think it's the public is a little over the top trying to get these TDs to show every penny they spend. It should be just like you said. Did they meet the standards? Did they have a good payout? Did they provide what they were supposed to provide, and you had a good experience? If they made $100,000 on the side, clap for them. You know, this is the problem I see. You know, the thing is, it's all like a secret. Oh, these guys aren't making money. If you think that the TDs on your area who run the tournaments aren't making money, then you're completely lost. They're making thousands of dollars for every one of those tournaments they're hosting in your area that has 80, 90, 100 players. I mean, I don't have to be a mathematician to do that for you. I'm sure you know what wholesale versus...
I don't need to call out anybody either, but there are people, can I just say this now? I know there are tournaments out there making 50,000 plus. So it's not a secret.
I know. We know they are. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of funny that, you know, this low guy runs a local C tier and they browbeat him because he kept $50 for his gas. But another guy who quietly does it by getting a sponsor for a disc and then saying he bought the disc on the report now just made $800 extra because that was sponsored. You know, I think that is kind of interesting.
I've seen a tournament director just literally, now I'm sure there was other stuff going on in the disc golf community, but literally get railroaded because he couldn't account for all the money that was provided for the tournament. And I think to myself, if he advertised one thing and didn't present it, that's one thing. But if he presented everything that he said he was going to do in marketing and you don't know where the money went, that's not yours to worry about. And if you don't want to support the event, then don't do it again. But I guess my point is, and I'll just say it on a soapbox, TDs should make money. We should be applauding them when they make a lot of money. As long as you experienced a good tournament that was advertised, to me, that's all that matters.
I'll let Nick cut in, but I got to say one thing, Nick, before you cut in.
Yeah.
SeaTac is a guy named Jub. That's his nickname. And I used to go to this tournament all the time. And it came out after years that people started looking at his records. And he had a C-tier payout, paid me $300 to win every year. Whatever. It was only $40 to get in or something. But he was taking $3 a player for his admin services. And eventually they blackballed him out of his tournament that he ran for many years, took him away from the course, everything. He has no say over there anymore, right? And he's the one that kind of got it going. And I said to him, it's such a funny sport. If when they signed up and they came to check in and you said, listen, I'm taking $3, check this box. I'm going to give you a great experience today. Guarantee they check that box and say, oh, sure, Jub, keep $3. You earned it. But for some reason, when they find out he took $89 for that $3 a person, then he looks like some kind of thief. And it's kind of ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just over the top. You know, like you said, that running thing, they're taking 80, it's 100, they're keeping 80 a player.
Yeah. Which,
You know?
yeah,
So
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Nick. It's your floor.
I was, you know, this subject is out of my kind of zone of knowledge because I've never TD'd an event, and I kind of go to an event. I love the TDs around here. I've gotten along very well with some of the guys who run the Dam Series events here. Obviously, Steve Dodge, I've known him for years now, but I don't know exactly what goes into it. And so that's why it's really cool to hear you guys talk about it, because there's just a lot of knowledge that I don't know.
The Nick and Matt Show.